sun burned bright behind him as Superman pushed deeper into the storm. It was not a normal solar flare. It was a churning globe of light and twisted magnetic lines, big enough to swallow a small moon. Satellites hung in the edge of it, pulled off their paths like toys in a whirlpool. He moved from one to another in a blur. One moment he was at the first satellite, hands pressing against hot metal, heat vision cutting away loose panels before they could break free. The next moment he was at the second, bracing its body and pushing it back into a safe orbit. He did not need to breathe, but the habit of years made him exhale slowly as he worked. "Easy," he said under his breath. "We're okay, just a little storm." His cape snapped behind him in the solar wind. Radiation rolled over his skin. It made him feel stronger, like every cell in his body was waking up. Then he saw the tear. It hung in the middle of the storm, not made of light, not made of shadow. It was an open cut in space, thin and long, with edges that rippled like a curtain in a wind that did not exist. Around it, the storm moved in patterns that did not match any normal physics. Superman stopped, floating in front of it. The hairs on his arms prickled. "That's new," he said softly. His hearing picked up the distant voices of ground control, buzzing through the satellites. Static, warnings, his own name shouted again and again. They saw the flare. They did not see the tear. He moved closer. The tear reacted. It widened in an instant and reached for him like a hand. Space around him bent. For a moment he felt weight, real weight, like a world was pulling him down. Satellites started to drift toward the tear as well, sliding off their safe lines. Superman made his choice without thinking about it. He blasted forward, grabbed the nearest satellite, and pushed it away from the tear with as much force as he could without turning it to scrap. At the same time, he shoved himself the other way. The tear followed him. It locked onto him, not the machines. The pull focused on his body, on the strange energy inside him. He heard metal groan as 3 more satellites started to drift back toward the tear. He could have fought it. He knew he might be able to break free. But if he did that, the tear might latch onto the other objects instead. "Fine," he muttered. "You want me? You get me." He turned, put his back to the tear, and pushed the satellites back one last time. Then the pull spiked. The world spun. The cut in space swallowed him whole. For one heartbeat there was nothing. Then there was noise. He tumbled through a tunnel that was not a tunnel. Colors he did not have names for flashed past his eyes. He felt pressure on his skin and in his mind. For a moment he thought he heard a voice, but it was like a sound underwater, too far away to understand. And then he was falling. Not through space, through air. The sky above him was blue. The gravity felt like Earth. The sun was still bright, but its warmth had a slightly different taste to his senses, like a spice he had never tried before. Below him spread a crowded city, blocks of concrete and glass, tight streets, small parks, older buildings jammed against newer ones. Signs in a language he did not know yet. On one edge of his vision, a patch of empty wasteland, like a scar where a town used to be. He was not alone. A huge chunk of rock fell beside him, burning at the edges, trailing smoke and fire. It must have broken off from somewhere in the storm, dragged through the tear with him. It was big enough to crush a district. Superman's brain did the math in a blink. Mass, speed, angle. He twisted in midair and shot downward. Wind roared against his face. His cape snapped straight. He hit the rock with both hands, fingers cracking through stone. He pushed. The shock rippled through his arms and back. The rock shuddered, slowed, then shattered into a cloud of smaller pieces. Those pieces were still dangerous. He spun, heat vision lancing out from his eyes in thin red beams. He cut the largest fragments into dust before they could hit the ground, moving faster than any human eye could track. The smaller shards he met with bursts of super breath, blowing them out over the empty wasteland instead of the city center. From the streets below, people saw flashes of red and blue in the smoke. They heard thunder with no rain. Some screamed, some pointed up, some just stared, frozen. On a rooftop not far away, a bald man in a faded cape looked up from the grocery bag in his hand. Saitama blinked. That's new. Beside him, a tall cyborg with yellow eyes zoomed in with built-in scanners. Jano's gaze tracked the blue and red figure. Energy readings are impossible, Jano said. Servos whirred in his body as he adjusted the focus. Sensei, that man is flying without any visible support, and he just shattered a meteor-sized object with his bare hands. Saitama squinted. Cool cape, he said. Kinda like mine. High above the city, Superman slowed to a stop. The air around him calmed. Dust drifted away. He hovered there, taking it all in. Different constellations, different magnetic lines, different radio chatter buzzing in his ears. Sirens with tones he did not recognize. Words in a tongue he had never heard before. But his mind was already starting to map the patterns. Wherever he was, people down there were scared. He heard a child crying. He heard someone shouting for help in a collapsing building 3 blocks away, where a shockwave from the falling rock had cracked the top floor. He did not know this world. He did not know how he had arrived, but he knew what he was. Superman angled his body and dropped toward the city. New place, he murmured. Same job. Far away, high above the clouds, hidden satellites turned to track him. In a control room full of screens, a man in a suit leaned forward as a label flashed over, the image of the Cape Stranger. Unknown entity, threat level, pending, possible God level. No one knew yet if he would save them or destroy them. They would find out very soon. The sea-smelling wind hit his face as he broke through the clouds. City B spread out beneath him, built along the shore. The streets were a maze of cars, people, and flashing lights. Today, they were also a maze of panic. A giant creature crawled out of the harbor and onto the land. It looked like a cross between a crab and a fortress. Its shell was full of spikes and broken ship parts. Its legs smashed through concrete with each step, leaving deep holes in the road. Yellow eyes glowed along its front plate. Dragon-level threat, a voice shouted over city loudspeakers. All civilians evacuate inland. Near one of the main roads, a bike skidded to a stop. Moomin Rider put one foot down and stared up at the monster. His simple helmet shook on his head. Sweat rolled down the side of his face. He knew the numbers. Dragon level meant total city destruction if no one stopped it. It meant S-class heroes. It meant people far stronger than him. He was not S-class. He was barely hanging onto C-class. But people were screaming. A bus had tipped onto its side, passengers trapped inside. The monster's lead leg moved toward it. Moomin Rider swallowed. My body is shaking, he whispered to himself, but I can still move. He kicked down his bike stand and ran. He did not reach the monster. Of course he did not. Its leg was as thick as a house. But he ran in front of the bus and spread his arms. Stop, he shouted, voice breaking. As long as I'm here, I won't let you pass. The monster did not care. Its leg came down, shadow falling over him. He heard someone cry his name. He shut his eyes and braced. He knew he could not actually hold it back, but heroes were supposed to stand up. The impact never came. Something moved between him and the leg, so fast that the air popped. A blue shape, a red cape. Superman caught the descending limb with both hands. He dug his boots into the asphalt. The ground cracked under the force. Dust shot out around them. The monster's leg shook as if it had hit solid armor instead of a person. Superman looked back at Moomin Rider. "You're brave," he said. His voice was calm, steady, like a solid wall in a storm. "Get those people clear. I've got this part." Moomin Rider stared. For a second, all he could see was the symbol on the stranger's chest and the bright red cape moving in the wind. Then he grinned, teeth clenched. "Right," he shouted. "Leave it to me." He scrambled to the side of the bus, calling to the trapped passengers, pulling at the doors. Behind him, the alien hero pushed. The monster screamed as its leg was forced back. Its massive body tilted. It tried to smash down another limb, but Superman was already up in the air, hitting it in the face with a punch that cracked its shell and flung it back toward the harbor. The water exploded as it fell. Down the coast, many cameras saw the impact. At Hero Association headquarters, the main monitor room was chaos. Dozens of screens showed the same blue and red figure, pausing mid-air, then streaking forward again. "Replay that last frame," Sitch ordered. He was a man in a dark suit with tired eyes. His tie was loose. Coffee sat cold by his elbow. On the screen, Superman moved slower under the replay. Even slowed down, he was a blur, but they could see enough. He caught a dragon-level threat like it was a toy. He moved it away from the city with ease. He did not use any weapons or machines. No known Hero Association file matched his face. "This is the same entity from City Z," an analyst said. "The one that broke up the falling rock. Energy readings are off the charts." Child Emperor sat at another station, legs dangling from a high chair. He was a small boy in a white coat, with sharp eyes and a frown that looked too old for his age. "He's not wearing any Hero Association gear," Child Emperor said. "No ID, no tracker. Yet he shows a clear pattern of protecting civilians." Sitch rubbed his forehead. "And his power level?" Child Emperor pulled up numbers, then shrugged. "Our sensors saturate," he admitted. "I can't say. He's at least on the level of top S-class heroes, maybe above." The room went quiet for a moment. "Prepare an approach plan," Sitch said. "We need to contact him. If he's a hero, we want him on our side. If he's not..." He did not finish that sentence. On the screen, Superman flew back to the shore. The monster tried one last desperate charge, roaring, foam streaming around its legs. Superman met it with a simple straight punch to the shell. The armor buckled. The creature rolled backward, stunned. He followed, grabbed it under the front plate, and lifted. Muscles in his arms and shoulders flexed. Water cascaded off the monster's body. It was huge, the weight of a small building. He threw it back into the ocean. The impact sent a wall of water up, but Superman was already in front of it, pushing with both hands. The waves split and curved around the city, smashing harmlessly along the outer docks instead of the main streets. On the shore, Moomin Rider helped the last passenger out of the bus. He turned, dripping with sweat and seawater, and saw the alien hero touch down in front of him. "Is everyone okay?" Superman asked. Moomin Rider nodded, still breathing hard. "Yes," he said. "Thanks to you." Superman looked him in the eye. "No," he said. "Thanks to you. You stood there. You didn't run." Moomin Rider's throat tightened. No S-class hero had ever said that to him. He bowed, helmet almost falling off. Who are you?" he asked. Superman opened his mouth, then closed it. He glanced up at the strange signs, the strange coastline, the skyline that wasn't Metropolis. "My name is Superman," he said, "and I'm a little lost." Later in City Z, the wind was calmer. Superman sat on the edge of a tall building, legs dangling over the side. The sun was lower in the sky now, turning the clouds a soft orange. Below, City Z looked almost peaceful, if you ignored the cratered areas and weird, broken spots that hinted at past battles. He held a small bent road sign in his hand. It had been knocked loose during the rock incident. He turned it between his fingers, reading the shapes on it, listening to the sounds of people using similar words below. His brain worked fast. He was already starting to link letters to sounds. "You're just sitting there?" a voice asked. He turned. Saitama stood behind him, plastic grocery bag dangling from one hand. There was a pack of discounted meat inside, the red price tag big and bright. Gino stood next to him, eyes glowing more than usual as he scanned Superman. Superman smiled. "Hello." "You're the Cape guy who broke the rock," Saitama said, "and the crab thing on the shore. You strong?" Superman could not help it. He laughed once, short. "I do my best," he said. "And you are?" "Saitama," he said. "Hero for fun." Genos bowed deeply. "I am Genos, the demon cyborg," he said. "I am an S-class hero. Please allow me to ask some questions." Superman raised a hand. "It's okay," he said. "I have a lot of questions myself." They talked. Superman kept it simple. He told them he came from another Earth, that he was not born there, but raised there. He described a farm in the middle of flat land, 2 kind people who found him in a field, and a city of glass towers where he worked as a reporter when he was not in costume. "So you punch monsters and then write about them?" Saitama asked. "Sometimes," Superman said. "It's important to tell people the truth about what happens." Genos listened with serious eyes. "In our world," Genos said, "monsters appear almost every week. Some are wolf level, some are demon level, some are dragon level or even god level. We have a formal system, Hero Association, that ranks heroes and sends them to each threat." He explained the ranking system: C class to S class, disaster levels, examinations, tests, pay, popularity. Superman frowned a little as he listened. On his world, heroism had been something you chose. There were jobs and teams, sure, but not offices and salary charts. "You get paid to save people?" he asked. "If you are high-ranked," Genos said. "Yes." Saitama scratched his cheek. "Yeah, unless you're me," he said. "Then they just yell at you for breaking walls." Superman chuckled. "Well, where I come from, there are rules too. People are afraid of power they don't understand. They try to make laws to control it. Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't." Genos's eyes glowed as he saved that line. From far above, small Hero Association drones buzzed, recording all of this. A call came to Genos's communicator. He touched his ear. "This is Genos," he said. "Genos," a voice replied. "Bring the unknown hero to headquarters. The executives want to speak with him. We will send a helicopter to your location." Genos looked at Superman. "They wish to meet you," he said. "They will want to scan your abilities and discuss your status." Superman looked up at the distant drones. He could have flown away. He could have hidden. But the way the people on the streets had looked at him earlier flashed in his mind. Fear, hope, confusion. If he wanted to help, he needed to understand this place. "All right," he said. "Let's go talk." Saitama raised a hand. "Hey," he said. "Do they give you a hero name too? Mine is Caped Baldy. It sucks." Superman smiled. "I'll find out," he said. Hero Association headquarters was a tall tower with a wide base full of bright hallways and busy people. Superman walked through with Genos at his side and 2 security officers in front. Everyone stared. Some pretended not to. Others simply stopped and watched with open mouths. He felt eyes from every direction. He also felt beams. Hidden sensors scanned him as he passed. They measured his heat, his movement, his energy output. Child Emperor watched lines jump on his screen. Heart rate, calm, Child Emperor said. Body temperature, stable. No known internal weapons. But energy storage is strange. It's like he is a living battery. In the main test room, they had set up heavy machines. Please stand in the marked area, a technician said, voice shaking a little. Superman stepped onto a platform. Steel bars wrapped around the space in front of him. A thick punching pad rose from the floor, wired to big machines in the back. We will test your physical strength first, Child Emperor said over a speaker. This pad is reinforced to measure the full impact of S-class heroes. Please hit it at maybe 20% of your power. Superman nodded. He did not really think in percentages, but he understood the idea. He drew back his fist and punched. The pad folded in half. The steel frame snapped. The machines behind it screamed, sparks flying, and then shut down completely. The lights flickered. Technicians dove for cover. One popped his head back up, hair standing on end. "Ah," Superman said. "Sorry." Child Emperor stared at his ruined data feed. "I will adjust my scale," he muttered. They tried other things. A pressure chamber to test if he could handle vacuum and extreme force. He shrugged off both. A heat rig to test his tolerance. He stood in the middle of it without sweating. At one point, they tried a high-level gravity field. The machine whined as it raised the pull far beyond what normal humans could survive. Superman flexed his shoulders. "It's heavy," he admitted, "but manageable." Child Emperor took notes faster. In a viewing room, several S-class heroes watched. Bang, the old martial arts master, stroked his beard. "He holds back with every move," Bang said quietly. "His body is relaxed, but the air around him moves like it does before a storm." Next to him, a short woman with green hair floated in the air, legs crossed. Tatsumaki's eyes were narrowed. "He's just standing there," she said. "Let's see if that changes." She flicked a finger. Invisible force slammed into Superman's chest, trying to shove him sideways. The floor creaked. Dust lifted from the ground. Superman felt the push. It was not small. It was strong enough to flatten a building. He shifted his stance and stayed in place. He looked up toward the viewing room. "I would prefer not to be used as a toy," he said, not shouting, but his voice carried. Tatsumaki's eye twitched. "He resisted that without trying," she said, annoying. Further back, King stood in the doorway. The scar on his face looked dramatic. His heart, however, felt like it was trying to jump out of his chest. "If he realizes I'm a fraud, I'm dead," King thought. "Please don't look at me. Please don't ask me anything." Superman glanced their way and saw King's presence, the way others positioned themselves around him. He smiled slightly and gave King a respectful nod. "Another strong hero," he thought. "Good. This world has protectors." King almost fainted. In a different room, a large robot body stood plugged into the wall. Screens above it showed lines of code and detailed diagrams. A sharp voice spoke through the speakers. "Interesting," Metal Knight said. "An alien with that kind of power. If we could get a sample, a small piece of tissue, we might be able to reproduce some of his abilities." "Metal Knight," Sitch said behind a glass wall. "He may be a future ally. We are not treating him like a lab rat." "Of course," Metal Knight said. Of course, allies. That is why we must understand him fully, to protect our world if he ever turns. His drone's cameras zoomed in on Superman's every move. Far beyond all of this, in a place that was not quite space and not quite a dream, something else watched. In a white void, with no walls and no floor, a shadow shape stood over a cracked tablet. On that tablet, a tiny blue light moved, like a dot on a map. The shadow reached out with a vast, thin hand. "New piece," a voice said. It was not really a voice, but it carried meaning. New light, not from here. Images flickered around it. Monsters, cities, heroes. A bald man punching a star-sized being. A boy with hungry eyes watching heroes fall. The hand closed. "We will see," the voice said. "We will see how this new light bends, or breaks." Back in the real world, in a conference room, Superman sat across from Sitch and Child Emperor. "We are grateful for your help," Sitch said. "You stopped 2 major disasters today." "I was in the right place," Superman replied. "That's all." Child Emperor folded his hands. "You are not from this world," he said. "Your biology is not human. Your power is beyond S-class. That makes some people here nervous." Superman nodded. "I understand," he said. "On my world, people feel the same way sometimes. They wonder what happens if I stop caring." "What would happen?" Child Emperor asked. Superman held his gaze. "I do not stop caring," he said. "I was raised to help. That does not change because I crossed a hole in space." There was a pause. Sitch sighed and picked up a tablet. "For now," he said, "we would like to register you as a provisional hero with the association. That way, we can coordinate during disasters and avoid confusion." Superman smiled. "If that will help me protect people here, then yes," he said. Sitch pressed a few buttons. "We have prepared several official hero names," he said. "The public likes something easy to shout. We had proposals like Blue Justice, Alien Savior, and Caped Visitor. The current default is Caped Alien." Superman's smile froze for half a second. "Caped Alien," he repeated. Sitch coughed. "We can workshop it," he said. Outside the room, Saitama waited on a bench, flipping through a cheap hero magazine. On the cover, someone had drawn King with glowing eyes and flaming fists. He overheard the last part through the door. "Caped Alien?" he muttered. "That name is dumb. Still better than Caped Baldy, though." He frowned, thinking of the name he hated. "Stupid naming committee," he added. The door opened. Superman stepped out with a small card in his hand. It had his picture on it, with provisional hero Caped Alien printed under it. "How'd it go?" Saitama asked. "I have a job," Superman said. "And a name." Genos nodded with deep respect. "Welcome to the Hero Association," he said. "We will fight side by side." Superman looked back once more at the conference room. He could feel the unease in there, even through the walls. But he also felt hope. "We will work together," Sitch had said. "We will observe you, and we will be ready if you become a problem." It was not trust, not yet, but it was a start. The ocean was dark under the storm. Clouds curled over a patch of sea far from any harbour. Sheets of rain fell in sudden bursts, then stopped, then fell again, as if some giant hand was playing with the weather. In Hero Association headquarters, alarms rang. "Unidentified energy surge detected above Sector 7, a tech shouted. "Pattern does not match any known monster. Gravitational readings are unstable." On the main screen, a swirling mass of light and water rotated in the sky, pulling up waves like fingers. Lightning crawled through it, but the color was wrong, too red, too black at the edges. Another tier? Child Emperor asked. Sitch's eyes narrowed. Call all available S-Class heroes to standby, he said, and contact the caped alien. A small light blinked on a panel. Already moving, the tech said. He left City Z the moment the surge started. Superman cut through the clouds like a bullet. Rain rolled off his suit. Thunder rolled around him. Ahead, the storm spun, a tight sphere instead of a wide front. It felt like the rift he had fallen through, but weaker, like an echo. He stopped just outside it, hovering. Up close, it was stranger. The rain did not fall down. It spiraled backward into the center. Bits of seawater rose in lines, freezing in midair, then twisting into shapes that almost looked like faces. His skin prickled again. "Hello," he called. "Is anyone in there?" The storm answered. The center stretched, like an eye opening. A roar shook the air. Water surged up from the sea, forming a huge body around the light. In seconds, a giant stood on the waves. It was made of water and storm cloud, but the shape was almost humanoid. Arms, hands, a rough head. Yellow lines of energy crackled through its body like veins. Its face was a smooth, blank plate, but when it turned toward him, he felt its attention like pressure. "Intruder," it rumbled. The voice was inside his head and outside at the same time. "Light from elsewhere. You do not belong." Superman's fist clenched. "Maybe," he said, "but there are people living on that coast. You will not touch them." He moved. The first clash shook the air. He flew straight at its chest and hit it with a punch that would have broken an asteroid in half. The water body exploded outward, waves shooting in all directions. For a moment, he thought it was over. Then the waves snapped back together. The giant reformed, thicker and denser now. It raised an arm and swung. The blow hit Superman like a falling mountain, sending him flying sideways through the storm. He corrected his flight, wiped water from his eyes, and shot back. Heat vision cut a line through the giant's arm. Steam screamed into the air. The arm fell apart, then knit itself back together, now glowing with the same red light as his beams. It was copying him. "Interesting," the giant said. "You bring new tricks." He heard a faint click in his ear. The association had patched audio through a small device Genos had given him. "Caped Alien, this is headquarters," Sitch's voice came. "We are reading massive energy spikes. S-Class heroes are en route. Try to keep it away from the shore." "I'm trying," Superman grunted. He caught another punch, this time twisting the giant's arm and using its own momentum to throw it backward. The impact created a crater in the sea, a deep bowl of water. He flew after it, pounding the core with rapid strikes. Each hit made the light inside brighter. Each time, the water around it surged and shifted, learning how to stay together. His heat vision made it stronger. His force made it more stable. "You adapt," Superman realized. "Like a living storm." He could outpunch almost anything. But if each punch made the thing tougher, this would turn into a loop. He backed off and rose higher, scanning the structure. There, at the center, a knot of energy. Not water, not air. Something that came from the same place as the tear. He drew a deep breath, then exhaled in a focused freeze breath blast. The air around the knot dropped to near absolute zero in an instant. The water body slowed, its movement sluggish. He dived, fist ready to smash the core. The giant shifted its shape. For a split second, its body folded in on itself. Space twisted. His fist went through empty air and came out the other side, far from the core. A tendril of red-black light stabbed toward him. It hit his side. Pain flared, not sharp, but deep, as if something had reached into his cells and squeezed. He reeled back, hand on his ribs. Not physical, he thought. Something stranger. On the coast, waves lifted high. Ships rocked. People watched from safe points, eyes wide. News drones hovered near the battle, filming every moment. In one living room, a family watched on a big screen. "Is that the new alien hero?" one child asked. "He's fighting a storm." "He's in the way," the father said. "What if that thing came for him? It didn't show up until after he did." Arguments like that echoed across the country. In the headquarters, Child Emperor frowned at the data. "The entity is reacting to his energy," he said. "It increases its stability each time he hits it. If this continues, it might become truly unstoppable for anyone else." "So we let him weaken it, then send others," an executive suggested. "Or we call in everything we have," Sitch said. "Patch Tatsumaki, patch Bang, patch the others. We need this thing stopped here, over the sea, before it moves." Tatsumaki arrived in a streak of green. She floated high above the water, hair whipping, eyes glowing. Debris and foam circled her like a halo. "You big idiot," she snapped over the comms. "Why are you feeding it your power?" Superman dodged another twisting arm and glanced at her. "Oh, hello," he said. She clenched her teeth and raised both hands. Invisible force slammed into the water giant from all sides, compressing it. The red-black knot at its center flattened. Waves shot outward, but she caught them too, holding them back from the shore. Bang arrived a moment later, standing on a chunk of broken ship. He looked like a harmless old man, but the way he balanced told a different story. He watched Superman move, eyes tracking each strike. Fast, Bang thought, strong and careful. He's pulling his punches away from the coast. Atomic Samurai came too, blade at his hip, standing on the air by slicing it repeatedly. They joined the fight. Superman took the front, blocking big blows and pushing this storm giant away from land. Tatsumaki held off the worst waves and compressed the creature when she could. Bang and Atomic Samurai cut away stray limbs that tried to lash out at passing ships. The giant roared, its voice shaking the sea. "You cannot stop the tide," it said. "You only make it stronger." It was not quite God. It was something made from the residue of the tear, reacting to this world and to Superman. Each time Superman landed a heavy strike, lines of energy spread through its body like roots. Each time Tatsumaki squeezed it, the pressure pushed that energy deeper inside, making it denser. Child Emperor saw the pattern and grit his teeth. "We are making a core," he said. "This is bad." Then the giant changed tactics. It lifted both arms and pulled. The sea rose in a massive column, spinning into a tight vortex. At the top of the vortex, space began to stretch. Little black points appeared around it, like tiny versions of the tears Superman had fallen through. Gravitational readings spiked. "What is it doing?" Sitch asked. Child Emperor's face went pale. "It's trying to tear open more holes," he said. "If those open fully, we may lose chunks of the coast, or more things may come through." Superman felt the pull. He recognized the same strange force that had taken him. He could not let that happen. He shot straight up into the center of the vortex, ignoring the pain from the earlier hit. He pressed both hands against the forming tear and pushed. It felt like trying to hold a collapsing building by the roof. Space pushed back. Energy crackled along his arms. The tear's edge cut into his hands like hard ice, leaving marks that faded as his skin healed. Below, the giant poured more power into the vortex. Tatsumaki strained to hold the water in place. Bang and Atomic Samurai took out offshoots that tried to hit the nearest coastal town. "We can't keep this up forever," Tatsumaki shouted. You don't have to, Superman grunted. Just a little longer. He set his jaw and pushed harder. His muscles screamed. The tear stopped growing. Then slowly, it began to shrink. But that meant all his strength was going into holding it. He could not also fight the giant. On the monitors, Sitch watched the numbers. If he lets go, we lose the coast, he said. If he holds on, the entity may overwhelm the others, or adapt even more. Are there any other heroes in range? Someone asked. The answer came from a different channel, late and a bit confused. This is Cape Baldy, a lazy voice said. I got lost. Are you sure this is Sector 7? The map is weird. Genos's voice followed, urgent. Sensei, the battle is 3 kilometers north of your current position. You passed it. Oh, Saitama said. Oops. Saitama stepped onto a piece of driftwood and used it like a springboard, launching himself into the air. The wind rushed past his ears. From up here, he could see the whole mess. The huge water giant, the alien guy in blue, holding onto something invisible in the sky. Tatsumaki glowing green as she forced back waves. Old Man Bang balancing on nothing. He scratched his cheek. Look serious, he said. Maybe this one will last more than one punch. He landed on a spinning chunk of sea foam near Tatsumaki. You're late, she yelled. Again. Got lost, he said. Storms all look the same. He bent his knees and jumped again, heading straight for the giant. The creature turned its blank face toward him. It felt something different in this small human shape. A power that did not match its charts. It sent tendrils of red-black light at him, bending space, trying to catch him in pockets where time moved wrong. Saitama punched one. The tendrils shattered, the twisted space snapping back to normal like a rubber band. He punched another and another. Each one broke with a simple, clear impact. Superman felt the pressure on the tear ease for a second as some of the energy got cut off. He glanced down. He saw a man in a yellow suit and white cape, hopping from wave to wave as if they were stepping stones, punching light itself apart. That's not possible, Superman thought. And yet, the giant roared with frustration. You are the other one, it said. The one this world fears in whispers. Saitama landed on its shoulder, feet sinking into water that felt almost solid. Hey, he said, move over. He bent his knees and jumped again, this time straight toward its chest. One punch. He did not scream. He did not name the attack. He just hit as hard as he felt like hitting. The impact cut through the water body, through the red-black core, through the patterns that tied it to the leftover tear. For a heartbeat, everything froze. Then the giant blew apart. Not in a fireball, not in a huge splash. It simply came undone. The water dropped back into the sea. The light at the center broke into 1,000 thin strands and flew outward like tiny comets. Some vanished into the sky. Some sank into the deep. Some shot off into a place that was not quite space. Superman felt the tear in front of him flicker and die. The pressure on his hands vanished. He almost fell forward, then caught himself and floated, breathing hard even though he did not need the air. He looked down. Saitama stood on the flat sea, feet barely denting the surface. Nice cape, Superman called. Thanks, Saitama said. Yours is okay. They drifted closer. Tatsumaki lowered herself, hair wild and eyes still glowing. You could have done that sooner, she snapped at Saitama. Got lost, he repeated. Bang came to rest on a floating piece of debris, hands behind his back. He studied both of them. This world may change faster than we thought, he murmured. Up in the sky, thin strands of the strange energy floated away. One of them, the brightest, curved in a way normal energy did not, and vanished into nothing. Superman heard a whisper in the back of his mind. Choice, it said. Just that one word. He shivered. On the shore, cameras zoomed in. People cheered. Others looked worried. Some commentators on live feeds pointed at Superman and said he was the cause. Others said he was the only reason they were still alive. At Hero Association headquarters, Sitch exhaled and sat down hard. "We survived," he said. "For now." Child Emperor stared at the readings that showed both Superman's and Saitama's power spikes. With beings like this, he thought, our world will never be the same again. Out over the calm sea, 2 capes fluttered in the wind. Superman looked at Saitama. "Thank you," he said. "I could not have done that alone." Saitama shrugged. "Yeah," he said. "Me neither. Holding that weird hole thing looked annoying." He poked at the spot where the giant's core had been. "Kind of fun, though," he added. For a moment, he turned his head, looking up at the empty sky, but still too easy. The news played on every screen in City Z. In small cafes, people leaned over cheap tables to watch grainy footage of the sea battle. In tiny apartments, families sat together, bowls of noodles in their hands, faces lit by blue light. In Hero Association waiting rooms, heroes in simple outfits stared up at the big wall displays. On every channel, they showed the same image: a storm giant made of water and clouds, a red and blue figure holding back an invisible tear in the sky, a yellow-suited bald man punching straight through the monster's chest. A loud host pointed at the screen. "Look at this," he shouted. "The new alien hero, Caped Alien, and the mysterious Caped Baldy. 2 beings who can fight god-level threats like it's nothing. Are we safe, or are we doomed?" Text scrolled under the image. Who is the Caped Alien? Is he a hero, or a new disaster? They cut to a street interview. A woman hugged her child close. "He saved us," she said. "The wave was coming right for us, then it just bent around the city. I saw him up there. He's an angel." A man in a work jacket shook his head. "That thing didn't show up until after he fell from the sky," he said. "Maybe the monsters are coming for him. Maybe they follow his energy. I don't want our kids caught in that." In a small living room, King sat on his couch. Game paused on the screen. His controller lay in his lap. The news host spoke again. "Polls show the public is split. 52% say the Caped Alien is a savior. 48% say he is a ticking time bomb. Call now and vote. Who do you trust, Caped Alien or the long-rumored Caped Baldy?" A giant versus bar chart popped up. King swallowed. "They're asking the wrong question," he thought. "The real danger is if both of them get bored." He glanced at the paused game. "I hope he doesn't come over during boss fights," he added silently. In Hero Association headquarters, the mood was not much better. Sitch stood at the front of a long table in the main strategy room. Screens covered the walls. Each screen showed a different angle of the sea battle, or news clips, or charts full of numbers. Around the table sat executives, scientists, and a few heroes. Child Emperor sat on a booster cushion so he could see over the table edge, fingers laced in front of him. "We have 2 problems," Sitch said. "1. The entity we just fought was unlike any known monster. 2. The way we stopped it." He clicked a remote. The central screen showed a graph of energy spikes. "Here," Child Emperor said, pointing. "This is the water giant forming. This is Caped Alien engaging. Each time he hits, the entity adapts. Its stability rises. It absorbs some of his power." He clicked again. Another line appeared. And this, he said, is Caped Baldy. His punch cuts straight through the energy and cancels it. Our sensors can't even track the peak. One executive leaned back, arms folded. So we have two walking disasters, he said. One of them makes monsters stronger by accident. The other can erase them with a single hit. How is that good news? They stopped the threat, Sitch said. Without them, we might have lost the coast today. And what happens when the alien leaves? Another executive asked. What happens if he decides our rules are too slow, too weak? He could tear this building in half by sneezing. That is why we need protocols, someone else said. Emergency measures, just in case. Child Emperor's eyes hardened. You are talking about kill switches, he said. You want a way to destroy heroes who are too strong. The room went very quiet. Sitch sighed. We are not at that stage, he said, but we are in unknown territory. We cannot pretend everything is normal. We need ways to contain damage if something goes wrong. Any kind of damage, even from allies. He looked around the table. Caped Alien has shown a consistent pattern of saving lives, Sitch said. He has cooperated with us. For now, we work with him. We give him missions. We study his limits. We show the public that we are in charge. And Caped Baldy? A woman asked. Child Emperor tapped his pen against his notes. Officially, he is still B-class, he said. Unofficially, we treat him like S-class plus, but he does not like attention. For now, we let that be our shield. As long as the public does not lean on him for everything, maybe we have time to adjust. Sitch changed the screen. Now it showed an image of Superman standing on the shore, talking to Moomin Rider. He was smiling, one hand on the other hero's shoulder. He respects weaker heroes, Sitch said. He praises them in front of cameras. That helps. It keeps our smaller heroes from feeling useless. And makes him look even more like a saint, the first executive muttered. This is not a contest, Sitch snapped. He stopped, forced his voice to stay level. We will draft a provisional God-level hero protocol, he said. No kill switches, not yet. But clear rules, clear oversight, clear ways to communicate. If we treat him like a partner, maybe he will stay one. And if he doesn't, someone asked. Child Emperor looked at the frozen image of Superman. Then we hope our world's monsters are still our biggest problem, he said. Not our heroes. The room Metal Knight used was not really a room. Superman stood on a small platform in a large empty space. The walls were smooth metal with panels here and there, but there were no doors, no windows. It felt like the inside of a machine. In front of him floated a screen. On the screen was a drawn face with sharp eyes and metal parts. Thank you for agreeing to speak, the voice said. It was calm and polite. I am Beaufoy, also known as Metal Knight. Superman had already learned that Metal Knight almost never showed his real body. He controlled drones and suits from far away, safe behind layers of steel and firewalls. Nice to meet you, Superman said. You wanted to talk about research? More than that, Metal Knight said. I want to talk about your future and about going home. Superman's eyes narrowed just a little. I'm listening, he said. Your arrival has changed our world, Metal Knight said. You know this. New monsters, new energy readings. You are an anomaly. Our planet has never seen anything like you. That is a risk, but it is also an opportunity. The screen shifted to show diagrams, rough shapes of Superman's body, energy readings from the tests. With your abilities, we could move mountains, literally, Metal Knight said. We could lift cities out of harm's way. We could build space habitats beyond the reach of monsters. I already have designs for orbital platforms that could serve as your base. Superman tilted his head. You want to build me a space station, he said. Yes, Metal Knight said. A place where you can do the most good with the least collateral damage. A place where I can help you with technology. A place that keeps you visible and predictable. There it was. What do you want in return? Superman asked. Very little, Metal Knight said too quickly. Data, measurements, maybe a small sample of your tissue so I can study your cells. If I understand your power source, I can make weapons and shields that match it, to defend all of us, including you. Superman thought about the word weapons. He thought about the way Metal Knight had said including you, with a tiny pause between. You want a way to stop me, he said, if I ever become a threat. A responsible defender always prepares for every scenario, Metal Knight replied. I do not want to fight you. It would be inefficient. But our world cannot afford blind trust. Superman looked at the metal walls. He understood the fear. He had seen it on his own Earth. People were afraid of what he could do. Governments had tried to build secret weapons just in case. They had also tried to use him as a weapon. I have no problem with you studying my energy from a distance, he said slowly, but I will not give you my blood. I will not let you try to copy me. That road ends in a world full of uncontrolled weapons. Metal Knight's green face did not change, but his voice cooled. I see, he said. You fear that others will misuse what I create. I fear what will happen if someone like you decides your plan is more important than people's choices, Superman said. Metal Knight went quiet for a long second. We will continue to observe each other then, he said at last, for the safety of our world. Our world, Superman repeated softly. As he left the chamber, he wondered which world Metal Knight meant, the one he had come from, or the one he stood in now. Later, Superman stood on the rooftop of headquarters with Child Emperor. The city stretched out around them. Lights flickered on as evening came. The air was cooler here than above the sea, but the smell of salt still carried in the wind. Child Emperor held a small tablet, but he was not looking at it. He was watching Superman. You turned Metal Knight down, the boy said. He is not used to that. I noticed, Superman said. He will not forgive that easily, Child Emperor said. He will try again, another way. He thinks in long plans, years, decades. Superman glanced down at the boy. You sound like someone who does the same, he said. Child Emperor did not deny it. I am supposed to be the smart one here, he said. The planner, the cautious one. When I saw your test results, my first thought was not amazing. It was, how do we survive if he turns? He met Superman's eyes. So I will ask you something I would ask any threat, he said. What is your limit? Not your strength, your line. How far will you go to keep people safe? Superman's jaw tightened. I do not kill if I can avoid it, he said. I do not rule. I help. I catch. I push back. I do not put myself above the people I protect. And if that means some people die who might have lived if you were more strict, Child Emperor asked. Superman looked out at the roads. Tiny cars moved along them, full of people he did not know. He listened to their hearts, their breaths, their laughter and arguments. That part hurts, he said. Every time. I know I am not perfect. I know I make mistakes. But I have seen what happens when one person decides they know what is best for everyone. Even if they start as a hero, they end up as something else. A dictator, Child Emperor said quietly. A lonely one, Superman added. Child Emperor nodded slowly. Monster attacks are random, he said. Some of them are our fault. Some are not. People die. Every time we patch up and move on. I used to think if I just built the right system, I could fix that. But I am learning something from you and from Saitama. What is that? Superman asked. That no system can hold people like you inside it forever, Child Emperor said. You are too big. The choice must stay with you in the end. That scares me. But it might also be our only real hope. Superman studied the boy's small, serious face. You think like a Batman, I know, he said. He keeps plans for everything, even for me. Child Emperor raised one eyebrow. I would like to meet him, he said. Superman smiled. So would I, he said. Again. They stood in silence for a moment. So what will you do now? Child Emperor asked. Stay as our top weapon? Float above the city and wait for alarms? Superman thought about that. It made his chest feel heavy. No, he said. I need to know this world, from the ground, not just from the sky. On my world, I am a reporter when I am not wearing the cape. I talk to people. I listen. I think I should do that here too. Child Emperor blinked. You want to be a journalist, he said, in our world. You have monsters, Superman said. You also have heroes getting ignored, families rebuilding every month, executives making choices. Someone should tell those stories honestly. Child Emperor looked down at the tablet in his hand. We could help you get papers, he said slowly. An identity, a small job. It would also let us see what you notice. That might be useful. Superman nodded. Then we have a deal, he said. Child Emperor held out his hand. For a second he looked very young, just a kid shaking an adult's hand. Superman shook it gently. As he walked away, the boy watched him go. We give him space, Child Emperor thought. We learn from him, and we pray he stays the man he says he is. Night came fully to City Z. Superman sat on a different rooftop now, one with a clear view of the ruined district where monsters had destroyed buildings in the past. New foundations were being set there. Steel frames rose like bare trees. He closed his eyes. On his Earth, the night sounds were different. Helicopters, distant horns, the hum of power lines and trains. Here he heard weird things, strange flying vehicles, odd siren patterns. Even the way people's heartbeats sped up during monster alarms had a different rhythm. He could also feel something else. Every so often, a tiny tug, like static on his skin. It came from somewhere far away and nowhere at the same time. It tasted like the tear, like the storm giant, like the whisper he had heard. Choice. He did not like it. Are you listening? He thought into the dark. Whoever you are. No answer came. Only the wind. A sliding door opened on the building across from him. Saitama stepped out onto his small balcony in his house clothes. He stretched, yawned, and scratched his head. Then he saw the figure sitting on the next building. Oh, he said. Hey. Superman opened his eyes and looked over. Evening, he said. Saitama leaned on the railing. Couldn't sleep, he asked. Not really, Superman said. You? Saitama shrugged. I napped this afternoon, he said. Too much time, not enough good shows. He hopped up onto the railing in one smooth motion and then stepped across the air, landing lightly on Superman's rooftop as if a gulf of meters was nothing. He sat down next to him. You thinking about the big water thing? Saitama asked. Or the name they gave you? Superman smiled. A little of both, he said. Caped Alien. It's memorable. Yeah, Saitama said. Still better than Caped Baldy. He scowled. I saved their butts so many times, he said. And that's the best they got. Superman chuckled. On my world, names are strange too, he said. I didn't call myself Superman. People started saying it, and it stuck. Sometimes I wish they hadn't. It feels too big. Saitama looked at him. But you are super, he said. You flew into a sunstorm or whatever, and then held a weird space hole closed while fighting a water giant. That's pretty super. Superman tilted his head. You killed it with one punch, he said. How long have you been that strong? Saitama thought back to the endless days of training. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 10 kilometers of running, no air conditioning, no shortcuts. Since I did some training, he said. Then hair fell out, monsters got easy. He said it so simply that Superman almost thought he was joking, but the look in Saitama's eyes was not a joke. You're bored, Superman said. Yeah, Saitama replied. The word hung in the air. I live with fear, Superman said. Fear of going too far. Fear of not going far enough. When I fight, I feel like I'm holding back an ocean inside me. If I let it all out, I might break the world. Sounds annoying, Saitama said. It is, Superman said. But when I save someone, it feels right. Worth it. Saitama looked up at the stars. When I fight, it's like, he began, then stopped, searching for a simple word. It's like hitting a pillow, even big ones. For a second it's fun, then they pop, then nothing. He made a small popping gesture with his hand. I thought being strong would feel cool all the time, Saitama said, but now it's just chores. Grocery shopping is more exciting if there's a sale. Superman smiled sadly. You know, on my world, I have friends who can match me, he said. A princess from an island of warriors, a man with control over the sea, a speedster who can outrun light. We push each other. It's hard, but good. Saitama's eyes flicked to him. Must be nice, he said quietly. They sat in silence again. You could hurt this world if you wanted, Superman said. You choose not to. That choice matters. Saitama shrugged again. I just want to be a hero, he said. For fun, not for control, not for rankings. If I start telling people what to do, that's a pain. I don't want that. Superman nodded. I feel the same, he said. Someone out there doesn't. Saitama glanced at him. What do you mean? He asked. Superman looked into the dark sky. When I fell through the tear, I felt something, he said. When we fought the storm giant, I heard it. A voice, not like a person, more like the world trying to talk. It said choice, like it was watching us. Saitama scratched his cheek. Weird, he said. Is it a monster? I don't know, Superman said. But I think it used the storm. I think it will try again. And I think it is very used to people saying yes to it. Saitama's mouth twitched. Then we say no, he said. Simple. Superman smiled. I like your style, he said. Saitama stood. Well, he said, if a weird voice tries anything, call me. Or just punch it. I'll be around, unless there's a sale I can't miss. He hopped back across the air to his own balcony. Hey, he called over his shoulder. If you need a place to crash, don't. My apartment is tiny. He slid his door shut. Superman laughed to himself, then fell quiet again. Reporter first, he thought. Hero second. Maybe if I understand this world better, I'll understand what that voice wants. He watched the city until dawn began to grey the sky. In a place beyond light, the shadow watched. Images hung in the void like floating screens. On one, Superman stood on the rooftop, talking to Saitama. On another, he turned down Metal Knight's offer. On a third, he shook Child Emperor's hand. All this power, the voice mused. So much restraint, so much fear of himself. The shadow reached out. New images appeared. A crowded street, a worn-down training hall, a man in his 30s, sweating as he practiced martial arts alone. His fists were cracked, his eyes were tired. He hit the bag again and again. Each punch shook the room, but he was not S-class, not even A-class. The Hero Association had tested him and said, "You are strong, but not special enough." He had watched cities fall on the news. He had watched heroes arrive late. He had watched his own students die in a monster attack while top heroes fought somewhere else. His name was Ryu. "Here," the voice said, "a heart full of anger, full of hunger, full of need, perfect soil." A cube appeared in the void, small, black, with lines of light in its cracks. The cube dropped. Far below, in the real world, in a forgotten room under City Z, a similar cube began to glow. The voice smiled, without a mouth. "Let us see," it said, "how the alien's light bends. Let us give him a more personal test." The screen shifted. Superman's image grew larger. "Choice," the voice repeated. "He loves that word. We will give him another." Morning in City Z looked almost normal. People rushed to work. Kids in uniforms walked to school, bags swinging. Street vendors set up carts full of skewers and dumplings. The monster damage was mostly on the edges of the city, where broken walls and half-finished repairs still showed the scars of past attacks. On a small street near one of those scars, a new sign had been put up. Z-City Community Watch News. Real stories, real people. Inside, a tiny office held 2 desks, an old computer, and a coffee pot. A tired man in glasses sat behind one desk sorting papers. He looked up as the door opened. The man who stepped in looked like any other foreigner trying to find his way. Dark hair, simple clothes, glasses. There was something about his posture that seemed careful, like he was trying to take up less space than he could. "Hello," the man said, bowing slightly. His accent was odd, but clear. "My name is Clark Kent. I heard you might be looking for someone to write human interest stories." The editor blinked. "Foreigners don't usually look for work here," he said. "They go to the Hero Association PR teams. Better money." Clark smiled. "I'm not here for money," he said. "I want to learn about this city, about the people living with all this." He gestured through the window at a cracked building down the street. The editor looked at his eyes. There was something in them. Not fear, not naive excitement, just steady concern. "You have experience?" the editor asked. Clark reached into the satchel slung over his shoulder. He pulled out a thin folder. Inside were copies of articles. They were not from any known paper in this world, but they were written in a fast-learned version of the local language. Stories about a bus driver who rescued kids during an attack, a shop owner who refused to raise prices even when food was short, a C-class hero who rebuilt a playground on his days off. "I wrote these yesterday," Clark said, "based on things I saw, people I talked to." The editor read one. It was simple, clear, no fancy words, but it hit something true. "You write like you care," the editor said. "I do," Clark replied. The editor sighed. "The pay is terrible," he said. "We can't promise safety. Monster alarms hit this area 3 times a month. But if you want to walk with our people and tell their stories, we can give you a desk." Clark bowed again, deeper this time. "Thank you," he said. His first day as Clark was full of walking. He walked with Moomin Rider along cracked sidewalks as the hero checked on known danger spots. "So you're new to reporting?" Moomin Rider asked. "To this world," Clark said, "but not to the job." He took notes as Moomin Rider pointed at a bridge. "This one almost collapsed last year," Moomin Rider said. After a demon-level attack, the association sent repair teams, but they only did enough to keep it from falling. The rest of the work? Volunteers. He pointed to a group of people painting over graffiti. Heroes? Clark asked. Some, Moomin Rider said. Some are just people who live here. They got tired of waiting. Clark wrote that down. Later, he spoke to a small convenience store owner. The monsters scare me, sure, she said. But the big guys only show up when it's dragon level. Most days, it's just us and the small heroes. They're the ones who help us cover broken windows, who carry old folks during evacuations. She smiled sadly. They don't get posters, she said, but they're heroes too. Clark wrote that down too. Along the way, he heard whispers. Did you see the alien on TV? Someone said, in a noodle shop. He was so calm. I heard he brought that storm, another replied. My cousin says the energy readings match his arrival. That bald guy was cooler, a kid said. One punch. Boom. Clark kept his face neutral, but his ears picked up every word. In an alley, a teenager looked at him closely. Hey, mister, the kid said. You kind of look like that caped alien guy, if he had different hair. Clark adjusted his glasses. I get that a lot, he said gravely. The kid laughed and ran off. By noon, he was back at the small office, typing with easy speed. The editor read the first piece he turned in. It was about Moomin Rider. It did not call him weak. It did not call him foolish. It described his choice to stand in front of a dragon-level threat. It called his act a line in the road that others could grow stronger behind. The editor nodded. People need to read this, he said. Maybe it will remind them that not all heroes fly. That afternoon, Clark followed a different kind of rumor. He sat with a repair worker on a break, drinking cheap tea from a paper cup. The man's hands were rough. His eyes were older than his face. Anything strange lately? Clark asked. Besides the usual. The man snorted. What? Besides an alien and a bald god punching the ocean, he said. Clark smiled. Yes, he said. Besides that. The worker leaned in. There's talk, he said. Down near the old tunnels. People say some folks found things. Little black boxes. If you touch them, you see visions. Some say they got stronger. Some say their friend disappeared. Clark's back went straight. Disappeared? He asked. How? Just gone, the man said. One guy down there, a washed-out hero, kept talking about a voice of God in his head. Next week, the tunnel wall blew out, and no one could find him. Authorities said it was just gas, but my cousin saw symbols scratched in the wall, like someone drawing a sun with too many fingers. He shivered. I say, leave that stuff alone, he said. Monsters are enough. Clark thanked him and walked away. He did not head back to the office. Instead, he went toward the tunnels. The old tunnels under City Z were dark and damp. They had been part of a transport system long ago. Now most were sealed or forgotten. Some had been opened up again as emergency shelters during attacks. Clark moved through them with slow, careful steps. He did not use his full strength. He did not fly. He acted like a cautious man with a flashlight. But under the surface, his eyes were doing more. He switched to X-ray vision, studying the walls, looking for unusual shapes. He tuned his hearing to pick up heartbeats, footsteps, whispered voices. He found symbols first, scratched into the walls at corners, drawn with chalk, and then traced over in something darker. A circle with lines reaching down, like a hand pressing through a thin surface. He followed them. The symbols grew more frequent. The air tasted different, like metal and cold stone. He heard faint murmurs ahead. He reached a heavy door, half open. Beyond it, a wide chamber stretched out, carved from rock. Old pillars held up the ceiling. Someone had drawn murals all over the walls. They showed a vast figure looming over a city. People knelt beneath it, arms raised. Lines of light ran from the figure's hand into their bodies. In the center of the room stood a stone platform. On the platform, a black cube rested. It was not big, about the size of a person's head, but the air around it rippled. Thin cracks glowed with faint light that seemed to come from nowhere. Several people knelt around it, heads bowed. "Brothers and sisters," one of them said, "we have seen the failures of the so-called heroes. Cities fall, children die. The association lies, but the voice offers true power, true order." Clark stayed in the shadow near the door. He listened. "We will be the fingers of God," the leader said. "We will save this world by force, what the weaklings fear to do. But first, one of us must step forward." A man stood. Clark recognized him from the image in the void, though he did not know that. Ryu. He wore a simple G, sleeves torn. His knuckles were scarred. "I have lost students," Ryu said. "I have buried my pride. I have watched men like that alien and that bald man do in seconds what I thought would take a lifetime. If there is a way to become strong enough to guide this world, I will take it." He stepped toward the cube. Clark moved. He crossed the space in a blur, but he forced himself to do it at human speed, not to shock the people into panic. "Wait," he said. All heads turned. Some gasped. The leader fell back, fear and awe mixing on his face. "Caped alien," someone whispered. "In here." Clark stood in front of the platform now, between Ryu and the cube. "I don't know what that is," he said, "but I can feel it. It is not safe. It is not a gift. It is a chain." The cube pulsed, as if it heard him. Ryu clenched his fists. "And what do you know of weakness?" he snapped. "You fall from the sky and break monsters like toys. You pick up a bus with one hand. You don't know what it means to fail, to watch your students die because your fists are too slow." Clark met his eyes. He saw the grief there, the rage. "You're right," Clark said softly. "I don't know your pain, but I know my own. I have lost people too, whole worlds. And I know this, shortcuts to power always cost more than they give." He nodded toward the cube. "Whatever is inside that, it's not here to help you," he said. "It's here to use you." The leader backed up another step. "The voice called to us," he stammered. "It promised to stop the random attacks, to stop the fear. It said the alien light brought an opening, a chance." Clark's stomach turned. "It's watching," he thought, "using me as bait." He looked around at the gathered people. "You want safety," he said. "So do I. But if we give our choices to something that sits in the dark and whispers, we won't get safety. We'll get a cage." Ryu looked at the cube. It pulsed again. A tiny crack opened on one side like an eye. In his mind, a voice spoke. "They will never respect you," it said. "They will always worship others. The alien, the bald man, the liars in suits. Take my hand. Be the fist that breaks chaos. Be the justice they need." Ryu's shoulders shook. "Please," Clark said. "Step away. We can find another way. I'll help you." Ryu smiled, but it was bitter. "You can punch dragons," he said. "You can fly into the sky. But you cannot stand in my place. You cannot carry my regrets." He stepped around Clark. The cube glowed brighter. Clark reached out to grab his arm, but the air between them thickened. His hand met invisible resistance, like crystal. He pushed harder, but the barrier held. The cube opened. Ryu touched it. Light exploded out, filling the chamber. Clark threw himself in front of the kneeling people, wrapping them in his cape as best he could. The light washed over his back. It burned and froze at the same time, sinking into his skin. Inside the light, the voice laughed. At last, it said, a hand. When the brightness faded, the room was no longer quiet. Ryu stood on the platform, but he did not look human anymore. His skin was covered in shifting patterns of dark light, like ink that never stopped moving. His eyes glowed pale, without pupils. Lines of force curled around his fists, bending the air. The stone under his feet cracked just from the weight of his new presence. The cult members stared, trembling. God's avatar, the leader whispered. He chose you. Ryu turned his head slowly. His neck moved like it had too many joints now. He looked at Clark. The alien, he said. His voice was deeper, layered, as if two people spoke at once. The voice was right. You are a bright light, too bright for this broken world. Clark let the civilians go and stood up. In my world, when someone makes a deal like that, it never ends well, he said. I don't want to fight you, but I will stop you if you threaten them. Ryu smiled. You still talk like a savior, he said, but you are just another wait, another delay. The voice showed me a world without delays. He raised his hand. Space bent. Clark saw the air in front of him twist into diamond shapes. The lines of the chamber walls warped. Gravity shifted sideways. The stone under his feet tried to slide out from under him. He braced, digging his boots into the floor. The first blow came from behind. It wasn't Ryu's fist. It was a chunk of the ceiling, ripped free and hurled at him as if time had reversed. He spun, catching it before it crushed the cult members, and set it down carefully. Ryu blurred. He was suddenly at Clark's side, then in front, then above, moving in ways that did not match the lines of the room. Each step folded space a little, like he walked on invisible stairs no one else could see. His punch hit Clark in the chest. Pain flared, not from impact alone, but from the strange energy in the fist. It crawled into Clark's ribs, trying to twist his bones into new shapes. Clark slid back, boots carving deep grooves in the stone. So this is God's power, he thought. Warped space, warped flesh. He could shrug off mountains. He could survive suns. But this was something else. It went around his normal defenses, trying to change the rules under him. Ryu vanished and reappeared at his side, kicking. Clark blocked with his forearm. The blow still drove him into a pillar, cracking it. He shot upward, using his own speed to buy space. The ceiling rushed at him. Ryu had dragged it down with a hand gesture, folding the room like paper. If Clark blasted straight through, the whole place might collapse on the cult members. He turned, took the hit on his back, and held the rock up. Stone dust rained down. "Get out!" he shouted to the people below. "Run!" Some scrambled to obey. Others were too stunned to move. Ryu looked up at him. The voice was right, he said. You will always choose them over the bigger picture. You will always be weak. He moved his hand. The cube rose from the platform and floated into his palm, now fused to his skin. Light savaged the room. On the surface, Saitama was out for a jog. He did not like complicated routes, so he usually just ran in a wide loop around his neighborhood. Today, though, he had felt something odd. A deep vibration, like a giant hammer hitting the ground far below. He stopped. The pavement under his feet shook again. He said. That's new. Genos zoomed past him, jets flaring. Sensei, Genos shouted, stopping a few meters ahead. Did you feel that? There was a sudden energy spike underground near Sector 3. It matches the alien signature and something else. Something unknown. Saitama scratched his ear. So we go there, he said. Genos nodded, eyes sharp. Yes, he said. We go there. They turned. Just as they took their first steps, a heavy crack roared from below. A plume of dust shot up from a side street as part of the road caved in. Or it comes to us, Saitama said. He jumped once and disappeared into the dust. Under the city, the chamber had become a war zone. Pieces of the ceiling hung at strange angles, held up by lines of warped space. Pillars were bent like soft metal. Light and shadow pulsed in waves. Clark, no, Superman again, costume revealed under his ripped shirt, stood with his back to a cluster of cult members. His cape spread out behind him like a shield, catching falling rocks and bouncing them away. Ryu floated above the broken platform. He no longer needed the floor. Each step he took landed on small glowing shapes in the air, a staircase only he could see. Lines of power flickered with each movement. You cannot win, he said. The voice has shown me the truth. This world needs a fist, not a hand. It needs one will. Superman spat dust from his mouth. Funny, he said. That's what every tyrant says. Ryu thrust his hands out. The room twisted. Superman felt the floor drop on one side while rising on the other. Gravity turned sideways. For a moment, everyone in the room slid toward one wall. Debris flew past him in strange curves. He planted one foot against the shifting floor and one against a chunk of stone, using his strength to stand up even when up had changed. Heat vision lanced from his eyes. He did not aim at Ryu. He aimed at empty space next to him, where the twisted lines of gravity were thickest. The beams cut through them, making some of the warped paths snap back to normal for a second. Ryu's foot missed an invisible step. He stumbled. Superman shot forward and punched him in the gut. The impact drove them both through a tilted pillar and into the far wall. The wall cracked like glass. Energy spilled out in wild patterns. Ryu caught himself, coughing once. You learn fast, he said. Good. This will be fun. He grabbed Superman's arm. Power surged through the contact. Superman felt his own strength being bent, turned against him. His muscles tensed without his will. His fist started to swing toward the cluster of cult members. No, he growled. He fought his own arm, muscles screaming. The punch hit the ground instead, carving a crater. Ryu laughed. You see, he said, your light is wasted on mercy. Let me guide it. A chunk of the ceiling above the cult members cracked. Superman moved without thinking. He let Ryu fling him aside and dashed under the falling stone, catching it on his hands and shoulders. The weight pressed down hard. The warped gravity made it feel even heavier. His knees bent. Get out, he shouted again. This time, they listened. They scrambled over tilted floor and past broken pillars, running for the exit. One woman tripped. Before she could hit the ground, a strange force wrapped around her and lifted her up. She floated toward the door. Superman blinked. A small green-haired figure floated in the entrance, eyes glowing. Honestly, Tatsumaki said, if I leave you people alone for 5 minutes. Geno stepped in beside her, arms already shifting into cannons. Sensei is still tunneling down, he said. The soil is dense here. A second later, Saitama dropped from above in a shower of dust and broken rock. He landed in the middle of the room, looked around at the bent walls and hanging stones, and let out a low whistle. Wow, he said. We renovating or something? Ryu turned toward him. The bald one, he said. The one the voice fears and wants and hates. Saitama blinked. The what now? He asked. Superman strained under the rock, then shoved it aside, standing free. Saitama, he called. Be careful. He's channeling some kind of... Ryu vanished. He reappeared behind Saitama, fist already moving. His punch bent around the bald hero like a curved line, aiming for a point where Saitama's own motion would make it land harder. The fist connected with Saitama's cheek. There was a loud crack. Saitama's head turned a little. He blinked once. Huh, Saitama said. That actually stung a bit. Ryu's eyes widened. That should have snapped your neck, he said. Saitama rubbed his cheek. I'm impressed, he said. You're strong. Good job. He smiled, just a little. Now it's my turn, he added. The room held its breath. Superman could feel the air change. When Saitama got serious, even a little, the whole world seemed to lean in. The dust motes hung still. The warped gravity lines trembled. Ryu snapped his hands out, trying to bend space again, to push Saitama into a pocket where time ran at a different speed. Shapes blossomed around the bald hero, glowing frames that tried to trap him. Saitama stepped forward. The frames shattered. He didn't aim at the shapes or at the cube. He aimed at Ryu's chest, fist moving in a straight, simple line. Ryu tried to shift away. For a second, his body flickered in 5 places at once. Saitama's fist found the right one anyway. It was not even one of his named moves. Just a punch thrown at a level that would have erased any normal dragon-level threat. It hit the patterns covering Ryu's body. The light resisted. It flexed. It cracked. In that instant, Superman moved too. He saw the cracks in the power. He saw the strands of energy tying Ryu back to the cube, and through the cube to somewhere else. He flew up, not at Ryu, but at the cube fused to his palm. Using both hands, he grabbed it and focused his senses, pushing his own energy into the cracks. Heat vision did not help here. He had to use something smaller. He pressed with raw will, with the part of his mind that listened to the sun, that understood fields and lines. Let go, he thought at the cube. You don't belong here. For a moment, he felt the other presence again. The voice pushed back. You would tear my hand away, it said, echoing in his bones. You who fear your own touch. Superman gritted his teeth. I won't let you use him, he said. The cube split. With a sharp, clean sound, it cracked in half. Light exploded outward again, but this time it did not pour into Ryu. It flew upward, hitting the ceiling and then vanishing into tiny, fading threads. Saitama's punch finished its path. Ryu flew backward, slamming into the far wall. Stone shattered. He slid down, leaving a long crack. The patterns on his skin flickered and popped, then went dark. He collapsed to the ground. The warped gravity died. The room's angles moved back toward normal. Rocks fell, but Tatsumaki caught them with a lazy flick. Genos lowered his cannons, eyes wide. My sensors can't explain what just happened, he said. Again. Dust settled. Superman hovered down next to Ryu's still form. He knelt and pressed 2 fingers to the man's neck. There was a pulse, weak, but alive. He's okay, Superman said. For now. Ryu's eyes fluttered open. They were normal again. Dark, full of confusion and shame. I heard a voice, he whispered. It promised so much. I wanted to fix everything. I didn't want to become... He looked at his hands. I'm sorry, he said. Superman put a hand on his shoulder. This wasn't all you, he said, but you still have to live with what happened. Let us help you do that the right way. Saitama walked over and peered down at him. You punch pretty well, he said. Maybe stick to punching monsters, not deals with creepy cubes. Ryu let out a rough laugh that sounded half like a sob. Yeah, he said, maybe. Above them, in the not place, the voice recoiled. Portions of its form flickered where the cube link had been severed. "The light and the fist together," it murmured. "Unexpected. Annoying." Around it, other cubes floated in the void. Some were dim, some glowed brighter. "This world is stubborn," the voice said. "It clings to chaos, to choice, to fun." The last word it said, as if it tasted strange. "Very well," the voice said. "We will not push harder, not yet. The alien must be softened. His fear must be fed. His hope must be stretched. Then he will listen." The void went still again. Back in the ruin, Hero Association drones buzzed through the broken door. Their cameras filmed the cracked murals, the destroyed cube pieces, the strange burn marks on the stone. Sitch watched the feed on his monitor. "Another anomaly," he said. "Same energy as before. And again, the caped alien and caped baldy are at the center." Child Emperor was already running models. "This is not just monsters anymore," he said. "Something intelligent is behind these events. Something that understands our world and is curious about our strongest." Sitch stared at the screen where Superman helped move injured cult members onto stretchers. "How do we fight something like that?" Sitch murmured. "Something we can't see, can't punch, can't put in a cell." Child Emperor glanced up. "We don't," he said. "Not yet. First we watch, we learn, and we make sure our strongest stay on our side." On the screen, Saitama scratched his head, while Tatsumaki yelled at him for making more holes in the floor than necessary. "Our side," Sitch repeated, "if they even think of sides at all." Outside the tunnel entrance, the afternoon light felt almost too bright. Superman stepped out first, carrying one injured man on a stretcher by himself. Behind him, Genos and a squad of rescue workers guided more people into waiting ambulances. Ryu walked with his hands bound in front of him, head low. He had agreed to go in for evaluation and debriefing. Superman knew that meant questioning and tests. He hoped it would also mean real help. Tatsumaki floated above, arms folded. "Don't get involved with weird cults next time," she called down. "It's bad for my schedule." Ryu winced. "Yes, ma'am," he said. Saitama stepped out last, brushing dust off his cape. He squinted up at the sky. "Felt like a side quest," he said. "But the boss was okay." Superman stood beside him, watching the ambulances drive away. "That cube," he said, "that voice, it's the same one that watched me fall. The same one behind the storm. It wants this world under its hand." "And it wants you to help," Saitama said. Superman nodded. "It tries to use pain and fear," he said. "It looks for people who feel helpless and offers them control." Saitama picked something out of his ear. "Sounds like a scam," he said. Superman laughed once, but it came out tired. "Yeah," he said. "A universe-sized scam." He looked back at the dark tunnel entrance. "One I can't punch," he added. Saitama looked at him. "You don't have to punch everything yourself," he said. "Sometimes I'm here. Sometimes other people are too. You're not the only one with fists." Superman thought of Moomin Rider's shaky stance in front of the monster, of Genos rushing into danger again and again, of Child Emperor's serious face, of Saitama's simple, stubborn eyes. He straightened a little. "Right," he said. The two of them stood there for a moment, capes fluttering in the tunnel wind. Behind them, cameras from the Hero Association and local news channels filmed every frame. Later, people would replay the scene again and again, arguing about what it meant. Two godlike figures, side by side, at the mouth of an underground war. For now, it was just two men. One from another world, one from this one, caught in a fight that was only starting to show its real shape. Okay. Weeks passed. Monster alarms still rang. Cities still shook. But the world was not exactly the same anymore. In the mornings, people in City Z sometimes saw a tall man in glasses walking to work with a notebook in his hand. He wore simple shirts and a tie that never quite sat straight. He bowed to neighbors. He held doors open. He listened more than he spoke. Most of them just knew him as Clark. At the small Community Watch News office, he typed stories about small heroes and small acts. A C-class hero who carried medicine through a flooded street. A teacher who kept her class calm during an evacuation drill. A group of shop owners who made a shared monster fund to rebuild faster after attacks. His articles were short and clear. They did not use big words. They did not shout. But they spread fast. People shared them on cheap phones and in paper form on notice boards. "Hey, that's my uncle," one kid said, pointing at a picture of a man fixing a cracked wall. He never got on TV before. Afternoons were different. Sometimes Clark would excuse himself from the office, saying he needed to check on a lead. He would walk into a quiet alley, look up, and then shoot into the sky as Superman. He pulled children out of falling buildings. He caught speeding trucks tipped over by panicked drivers. He lifted a broken train back onto its tracks. He did it all under new rules. The Hero Association had written them down. In one meeting room, a red folder sat in the middle of the table. On the cover, in big letters, it said, God-Level Hero Provisional Protocol. Inside were pages with simple points. Caped Alien and Caped Baldy are to be contacted first in any possible God-level event. Their cooperation is to be requested, not forced. They are not to be used for political threats or personal gain. All actions involving them must be logged and reviewed. No experiments on their bodies without clear consent. Child Emperor had pushed hard for that last line. He sat now at the table while Sitch went through the last page. There will be complaints, Sitch said. Some leaders want a stronger leash. On beings who don't need our paychecks, Child Emperor replied. That is a fast way to turn allies into enemies. He tapped the cover. This is not perfect, he said. But it tells them we respect their choice. If we keep that, we have a chance. Sitch nodded slowly. And if they ever decide to ignore this, he asked, then no file will save us, Child Emperor said. At that point, it comes down to who they've become. He looked at a picture on the wall. It was a still frame from the ocean battle. Superman pushing the storm away. Saitama punching through the giant. I think they want to be good, he said. We should make it easier, not harder. Not everyone agreed. High above the planet, a quiet platform floated in orbit. It was not yet a full station. Just a heavy frame with some test panels and a few attached modules. From a distance, it looked like a small birdcage built around a thick metal core. Inside one module, screens showed the planet below in many angles. The face of Beaufoy, Metal Knight, glowed on one screen. Around him, diagrams spun. He watched a clip of Superman refusing his earlier offer. I will not give you my blood, Superman said on the recording. I will not let you try to copy me. Metal Knight replayed that line 3 times. Emotional, he said. Predictable. Inconvenient. He snapped his metal fingers. On another screen, a model of Superman's energy patterns appeared, built from all the data he had stolen from association tests. I do not need his blood, Metal Knight said. Not if I can map his field indirectly. And there is another subject. He switched feeds. Now he watched Saitama leaving his small apartment building, plastic bag in hand. The bald hero walked to the nearest supermarket, eyes dull, thinking only of discounts. Metal Knight's screen face smiled. "Caped Baldy," he said. "So much power, so little interest in using it strategically. If I can't copy him, perhaps I can cage him, or at least measure him." He sent the order. A small drone detached from the orbital platform and began to fall toward the city below. Down on the ground, life went on. In one rescue zone, Superman stood next to Bang. They had just taken down a demon-level monster together, a huge lizard that spat acid. The creature now lay knocked out in a deep pit, bound in heavy chains Tatsumaki had dropped from above. Bang wiped sweat from his brow. "You adjust well," the old man said. "You move like water around the other heroes. Never in the way, always where you're needed." Superman smiled. "I had good teachers," he said. "On my world." Bang nodded. "I had many students," he said. "Some broke under the pressure. Some turned into monsters inside. Some, like you, carry their weight quietly." He studied Superman's face. "You're thinking about leaving," Bang said. Superman looked surprised. "How did you—" "I've seen that look," Bang said. "Warriors who don't know if they still belong on the battlefield. Men who think their home is somewhere else." Superman glanced up at the sky. "I worry that my world needs me," he said. "Every day I stay here, I worry I am failing them. But I can't feel any clear pull back. No doorway, no simple way. And this world—" He looked around at the broken buildings, the repair crews already moving in, the small heroes checking on people. "This world is a mess," he said. "In a way I recognize. I can help here, but I don't want to become the only answer. I don't want people to stop standing up on their own." Bang chuckled. "Then do this," he said. "Stay, but not as a god. Stay as one very strong man among many. Share your strength. Share your stories. Let others rise." He put a hand on Superman's arm. "Leaving now would not heal your old home," Bang said. "It would only hurt this one." Superman let the thought sit. He nodded once. "For now," he said, "I stay." Across the city, Saitama walked into his supermarket. The sale signs were up. That was the real battle today. He moved down the aisles with focus. Discount meat, discount eggs, discount vegetables. He knew the usual prices by heart. Any drop, even a small one, lit a small fire of joy in his chest. Sometimes it felt like the only real surprise left. As he reached for a pack of beef, a small robot floated into view. It looked like a white metal sphere with little arms and a friendly smiling screen. "Greetings, Caped Baldy," it said in a bright voice. "I represent Metal Knight. May I have a moment of your time?" Saitama stopped. He looked at the beef, then at the drone, then at the beef again. "Sale ends in 10 minutes, he said. "Make it fast," the drone bobbed. "Metal Knight wishes to extend an offer," it said. "He has developed advanced combat simulations, artificial beings with power levels tailored to your own. Real challenges for training and enjoyment." Saitama blinked. "Challenges?" he asked. "Yes," the drone said. "Monsters stronger than any you have met. Enemies who can withstand multiple punches. Full virtual worlds designed to test your limits. And in exchange, he asks only to study your fighting patterns and your body's responses." Saitama's heart beat a little faster for a moment. Real challenges. Monsters who did not pop in one hit. Then he pictured a cold lab. Machines measuring his heart. Needles in his arm. Wires stuck to his head. Scientists asking him to do that punch again, but slower. He pictured his life turning into one long test. "Can I take the simulations home?" he asked. The drone paused. No, it said. They are housed in a secure facility, for safety. Can I leave whenever I want? Saitama asked. Of course, the drone said, within scheduled time slots. Can I bring snacks? Saitama asked. The drone blinked. Snacks are not part of the plan, it said. Saitama stared at it. You know what? He said. You can tell Metal Knight I'm not interested. The drone's smile flickered. Perhaps you have not understood the benefits, it began. With his help, you could end boredom forever. You owe it to the world to use your full potential. Saitama's hand moved. He flicked the drone with one finger, gently, for him. The drone shot backward down the aisle, hit a stack of paper towels, and fell into a soft pile. Customers gasped. Saitama picked up his beef pack, checked the price tag, and put it in his basket. I'm a hero for fun, he said over his shoulder, not for lab work. He walked to the checkout. The drone lay there, screen cracked. Transmission cut, Metal Knight's voice said through static. Subject is uncooperative. He stared at his monitors, thinking. If I cannot get their cooperation, he said, I must prepare for the day they stop being helpful. No one should hold the world's fate in their hands alone. No one but me. His fingers danced over controls. In the orbital platform, more frames unfolded, shaping into the skeleton of a much larger station. A cage, a gun, a shield. He had not decided which yet. Night fell again. Superman sat on a satellite dish at the top of a tall building. Below, the city slept as much as it ever did. Sirens were lower tonight, no major alarms, just the soft hum of generators and the whisper of the sea. He let his mind drift. He thought of Kansas, his parents' faces, the sound of crickets, the smell of fresh-cut hay. He thought of Metropolis, the Daily Planet globe, Lois laughing at one of his bad jokes, the rush of air as he flew between towers. He thought of this world, City Z, the ruined squares, the simple office where Clark typed, Saitama's tiny apartment. He closed his eyes. The pressure came without warning. One moment, the air felt normal. The next, it tightened around him like an invisible hand. His ears popped, his skin prickled. He opened his eyes. The sky above him was wrong. The stars blurred. The moon stretched into a long, white line. Darkness pooled at the edges of his vision, not like clouds, but like ink. He tried to stand up. His body did not move. His arms stayed at his sides. His legs stayed bent. His cape hung frozen. Not again, he thought. No. The world dissolved. He stood in white. Endless white. No floor, no ceiling, no horizon. Just an empty space with no shadows. He looked down. His body looked normal. His suit was clean. His hands were his hands. But when he tried to fly, nothing happened. Hello, Kal-El. The voice came from everywhere. Superman turned slowly. The shadow from before waited for him. It was not a clear shape. Sometimes it looked like a man in a cloak. Sometimes like a hand pressed against glass. Sometimes like a huge figure hunched over many tiny lights. All around them, images hung in the air. Krypton, breaking apart. His mother and father on the farm. Metropolis burning in some old battle. City Z under a black sky. You are very hard to pin down, the voice said. You move between worlds, between names, between roles, but you are still one thing. Superman's jaw clenched. What are you? He asked. A watcher, the voice said. A giver, a gardener of order. Some call me God here. Some call me demon. Some never know I spoke to them. The images shifted. He saw Ryu touching the cube. He saw the storm giant rising. He saw himself punching, holding, struggling. You broke my hand, the voice said. You tore my tool away. That was rude. You tried to turn him into a weapon, Superman said. You tried to use me as bait. Yes, the voice said simply. You are bright. You attract broken things. They look at you and think, if only I had that power, I would fix everything. I offer them a piece. They break themselves for me. It is efficient. Superman felt anger rise in his chest. That's not fixing, he said. That's control. Control is what your world lacks, the voice said. Look. The images changed. Monster attacks hitting cities at random. Children crying in shelters. Heroes arriving late. Executives arguing over budgets. Metal Knight building weapons. Saitama lying on his floor, bored and empty-eyed. This world is chaos, the voice said. Your old world was no better. Crime, war, fear, every day. You rush around, putting fingers in holes in the dam, while the water eats the world. Pointless. New images. Cities floating in the sky, safe above storms. Streets with no monsters. People walking without looking over their shoulders. No alarms, no rubble. In these visions, Superman floated above it all, glowing. You could end this, the voice said. I could help you. Take my power and your own. Pull up the cities. Crush the monsters. Rewrite the rules. No more randomness. No more fear. The images zoomed closer. In one, he saw Lois and his friends alive and happy in a world without crime. In another, he saw Ma and Pa Kent, standing on a sunlit farm that never washed away. In another, Krypton stood whole, never destroyed, with Jor-El watching his son fly overhead. His chest hurt. I can give you these, the voice said softly. Not illusions, real worlds, real people. You can guard them all. You can be more than a man in a cape. You can be the spine of a cosmos. Superman's fist shook. He wanted it. For a moment, he wanted it so badly his breath caught. A universe where no one died because he was too slow. No one cried because a system failed. No more news stories about broken lives. No more funerals. Just peace. What is the price? He asked, voice low. The voice smiled without a face. You already know, it said. Choice. You take theirs. You say, I know better. You say, I will make you safe even if you scream. You become the hand that holds everything. They become fingers. They obey. The images shifted. He saw himself sitting on a throne in the sky, eyes glowing, face stone. He saw crowds kneeling. He saw heroes standing behind him like guards, silent. He saw Saitama in a white room, throwing punches at empty air, never finding anything that hit back. He closed his eyes. Memories came. Moomin Riders shaking legs in front of the monster. Genos admitting his own weakness and still charging forward. A shop owner feeding people for free during an attack. Child Emperor saying, the choice must stay with you. He saw Saitama on that balcony saying, if I start telling people what to do, that's a pain. I don't want that. Superman opened his eyes. I am not your god, he said. I am not your king. I am not your knife. I am a man doing his best. You are more than a man, the voice hissed. Yes, Superman said. And that is why I have to be careful. He looked at the images of peaceful cities and whole worlds. They are beautiful, he said. And if you build them on chains, they are wrong. The white space darkened. You refuse, the voice said. You refuse peace. You choose fear. You choose death. How many will scream because you are afraid to be strong enough? Superman's knees buckled. The pressure returned, 10 times stronger. It pressed down on his shoulders, on his skull, on his chest. His bones creaked. His lungs felt tight. He dropped to one knee, then both. The images twisted. Now he saw only failures. People crushed under rubble he didn't reach in time. Buildings he could have held longer. Planets he could not save. Ryu's warped body, the storm giant growing stronger in his hands. "You have already failed so many," the voice whispered in his ear. "Why not fix it? Why cling to weakness?" The white around him cracked like glass. The cracks were black. Behind them, he saw something like teeth. The pressure pushed him toward them. "Bow," the voice said. "Let me in. Let me wrap around your fear. I will take it. I will hold it. You will be free." Superman's hands dug into the nothing under him. "I am afraid," he said, "every day, of doing too much, of doing too little, of hurting people, of losing them." He raised his head. "But I would rather be afraid and free than calm and chained," he said, "and I will not put this world in your hands." "You are not strong enough to resist me," the voice said. "You'd be surprised," another voice said. "Not in the white space, in the real sky, where something hit." In City Z, people looked up. They did not know why. The night was still, no alarms, no monsters, but suddenly everyone felt it, like a heavy weight pressing on their hearts, like a storm about to break. Birds fell silent, dogs whined, the air itself felt thick. Genos, on patrol nearby, almost dropped out of the sky as his senses went wild. "What is this?" he gasped. "It's like gravity and something else." On his balcony, Saitama sat in his pajamas, watching a late-night shopping show. He didn't care about the products. He just liked the hosts arguing over useless gadgets. The air changed. His skin prickled. He frowned. "Hey," he said softly, "that feels familiar." He stood up. For a second, he saw something strange. The moon pulled long like dough. The sky darkened at the edges. The stars thinned. He saw the building where Superman usually sat at night. It shimmered. Saitama's eyes narrowed. He bent his knees. Then he jumped. In the white space, Superman heard it. A faint sound at first, a dull thump, then another, like someone knocking on a door with their fist. The cracks in the white shook. The voice paused. "What is that?" it asked. The thumps grew louder. Superman grinned through the pressure. "Friend," he said. On the outside, Saitama soared up past the top of the building, a streak of yellow and white. He saw nothing unusual at first, just the roof, the dish, the empty air. But his skin told him the truth. The space around the dish was like thick glass, like a bubble holding something. "Well," he said, "let's see." He pulled his arm back. This time he did not pull all the way. He did not use his full strength. He aimed for break open a mountain, not break open a planet. He punched. The air rippled. A ring of force shot out. The invisible bubble around the roof shattered. In the white space, cracks exploded outward. Huge black lines tore across the blank floor, then up the walls. Pieces of space fell away, showing flashes of the real world beyond. The pressure on Superman's shoulders eased. The voice hissed. "This is my realm," it shouted. "I decide who enters." Another punch hit. The cracks widened. Light poured through. Superman felt something warm brush his face. The sun. Even here, in this mental place, he remembered its heat. He remembered what it felt like on his skin. He reached for that memory and pulled. His chest glowed. "You are not the only one who can shape worlds," he said. He pushed back, not with fists, with all the strength he used every day to hold himself in check, with the fear he had carried for years, with the hope that had kept him moving, with every time he had chosen to save instead of rule. The white space split apart. The shadow shrieked. "This is not over," the voice roared. "You will tire. You will doubt. You will come to me." The last crack broke. The voice cut off. Superman fell. He jolted awake on the rooftop. Cold air slapped his face. He was on his back, cape spread. His chest heaved. Sweat beaded on his forehead. His hands dug into the metal of the dish, bending it. Above him, the sky was normal. Stars. Moon. Faint clouds. Saitama leaned over him, upside down, hands on his knees. "You okay?" Saitama asked. Superman blinked. "Yes," he said. "I think so." He sat up slowly. "What happened?" Saitama asked. "Looked like you were sleeping with your eyes open. Then the air went all weird, so I punched it." Superman let out a shaky laugh. "You punched a god's mental trap," he said. Saitama scratched his cheek. "Sounded important," he said. Superman looked at him. "You saved me," he said. "Again." Saitama looked embarrassed. "It was just one punch," he muttered. Superman turned his gaze to the city. Light still glowed. People still moved. No buildings had fallen. A few windows were cracked from the pressure wave, but nothing worse. "The voice tried to make me his agent," Superman said. "He showed me worlds without pain. If I would give him this one." "You said no," Saitama said. Superman nodded. "Yeah," he said. "But for a moment, I wanted to say yes. Very much." Saitama sat down beside him. "Of course you did," he said. "You're not a rock." Superman smiled faintly. "I was afraid that meant I was weak," he said. Saitama shrugged. "Being strong doesn't mean you don't want stuff," he said. "It means you pick anyway. You picked no. That's it." He lay back, looking at the stars. "Worlds without pain sound boring," Saitama added. "No fear, no risk, no sails. Nothing changes. Might as well be a painting." Superman looked at him. "You really do hate boredom," he said. "More than monsters," Saitama said. Superman leaned back too. They lay there, two capes spread out on the cold metal, watching the sky they had just defended from something no one else could see. "I think I'll stay," Superman said quietly. "For a while. Maybe longer." Saitama closed one eye. "Cool," he said. "We can share the night shift." The next day, Superman told Child Emperor and Sitch everything. They sat in a secure room, recorders running. No windows, just 3 people and a stack of files. He described the white space, the images, the offers, the pressure, the way Saitama's punch had broken the cage from outside. "So it wasn't just a dream," Child Emperor said. "The pressure wave hit our sensors too. For about 6 seconds, gravity readings spiked across the city. Then they stopped." Sitch rubbed his temples. "This entity," he said, "this god, it's not just handing out power. It's trying to recruit, to turn our strongest into tools." Superman nodded. "It thinks in terms of control," he said. "Order at any cost. It sees free will as a flaw." Child Emperor looked at his notes. "We need a task force," he said. "Not just fighters, researchers, people who can detect these cubes, these mental attacks. We need to keep them away from desperate people. And away from power-hungry ones," Sitch added. "Heroes or executives." He looked at Superman. "Will it come after you again?" Sitch asked. "Yes," Superman said. "But now I know the shape of its tricks, and I am not alone." He thought of Saitama's simple punch, of Bang's calm eyes, of Moomin Rider's shaky legs, of the shop owner's tired smile. "That matters," he said. Sitch closed the file. "Then this is our new reality," he said. "Monsters, villains, politics, and a god who whispers, 'We will need you,' for a long time." Superman nodded. "I'll be around," he said. He stood up to leave. "Clark," Child Emperor said. Superman paused. "Yes?" "When you write your stories," the boy said, "don't forget to include yourself sometimes." Superman smiled. "I'll think about it," he said. Later, on the top floor of another building, Fubuki stood with her team. She watched a news clip of Superman talking to children after a small rescue. He knelt down so he was at their height. He smiled. He signed a crumpled piece of paper for one kid. "He has presence," Fubuki said, "and a good face for cameras. If I could get him into the Blizzard group." "Boss," one of her team cut in, "he already turned down Metal Knight, and he dodged your last invitation." Fubuki sighed. "I know," she said, "but imagine the ratings." She shook her head. "Fine," she said. "For now, we let him be a solo star. We make sure we're not just background extras in his story." She turned to her group. "Let's train," she said. "If godlike beings are flying around, we can at least be the strongest humans in the room." At the rehabilitation wing of Hero Association Medical, Ryu sat on a bed. His hands were bandaged. His eyes were clear now, but tired. Across from him sat Bang. "You made a mistake," Bang said simply. "A big one. But you did not stay in it. That matters." Ryu looked down at his hands. "I wanted to fix everything at once," he said, "and I almost destroyed more instead." Bang nodded. "Now you get to fix one thing at a time," he said. "Harder work, better in the long run." He stood. "If you want," Bang said, "you can come to my dojo when you are released. There we punch monsters, not gods." Ryu's throat tightened. "I would like that," he said. Bang smiled. "Good," he said. "Bring your regrets. We'll turn them into training." Time moved. The world adjusted. The Hero Association set up a small, quiet division that tracked rumored cubes. Child Emperor designed sensors that could sniff out their strange energy and lock them away before they found hands. Metal Knight kept building. His orbital station grew like a spider web in the sky. It was still for defense on paper. No one else knew exactly what it could do. Heroes patrolled. Monsters still crawled out of the ground, rose from the sea, dropped from the sky. But now, somewhere above or near any big fight, there was often a flash of red and blue, or a blur of yellow and white. People began to tell stories. Some called Superman an angel. Some called him a walking disaster. Some just called him that guy who writes nice articles and also lifts trains. Saitama's name stayed caped baldy on official lists. He still hated it. But sometimes he heard kids in the street whisper, "One Punch Man," with wide eyes, and that was enough. Night came again. On the same balcony in City Z, 2 chairs sat side by side. Saitama dropped into one of them, holding a can of cheap soda. He had changed into his usual house shirt and shorts. His cape was inside, hung on a hook. A second later, Superman landed softly on the rail and stepped down into the other chair. He wore his suit, but his boots were dusted with dirt from some recent rescue. He set a small bag on the table between them. "I brought snacks," he said. "I think I did. The conversion right." Saitama peered into the bag. "Chips, cookies, a kind of candy he liked." "Nice," he said. "You learn fast." Superman sat back. "I listened to a long conversation in a supermarket about which brand was best," he said. "I take my research seriously." Saitama cracked his soda. "So," he said, "any gods in your head tonight?" Superman took a breath, then let it out slowly. "No," he said, "just the usual worries." He tilted his head back, looking at the stars. "On my world, I used to sit on my apartment roof," he said. "I could hear every cry for help if I wanted, every crash, every heartbeat. Sometimes it felt like drowning. I had to learn to listen to just enough, to trust others to handle the rest." He glanced at Saitama. "It's the same here," he said. "Maybe more chaotic, but also more honest. No one pretends the world is safe. They just keep living anyway." Saitama chewed a chip. "Yeah," he said. People here are tough. He took another sip. You miss your farm? He asked. Superman smiled, small and sad. Every day, he said. I miss the smell of rain. I miss my mother's cooking. I miss my father's advice. I miss my friends at the planet. I don't know how time moves there compared to here. They might be fine. They might be gone. I have to accept that. He looked out over the messy city. But right now, I'm here, he said. And this place needs help too. I can't be everywhere. So I'll be here until I'm called somewhere else. Saitama nodded. Sounds good, he said. He looked at his own hands. When I started training, I just wanted to be strong enough not to be scared anymore, he said. Then I got too strong. Now I'm not scared of monsters. I'm scared of being bored forever. He tossed a chip up and caught it in his mouth. But lately, he said, I'm a little less bored. You and that weird God thing and all. It feels different. Superman turned toward him. Different good? He asked. Saitama thought. Different, he said. That's enough for now. A soft chime came from Superman's communicator. He tapped it. A Hero Association alert message popped up. Notification. Hero name update vote results. Current title. Caped alien new publicly approved title. Justice Alien Man. Superman stared at it. He showed the screen to Saitama. Justice Alien Man, Superman read. They made it longer. Saitama burst out laughing, soda almost coming out of his nose. That's terrible, he wheezed. That's even worse than before. He wiped his mouth. Still better than caped Baldy, he added. Superman sighed. I guess I'll never escape silly names, he said. At least Clark is short. Saitama raised his can. To bad hero names, he said. Superman clinked his can against it. To bad hero names, he agreed. Far away, in a small apartment, Moomin Rider watched a news report. They showed a quick shot of Superman and Saitama fighting side by side in some recent battle. The host called them Justice Alien Man and the One Punch Enigma. Moomin Rider smiled. He thanked me, he whispered. On the shore, he remembered. He adjusted the straps on his helmet. Let them handle the gods, he said. We'll handle the streets. He wheeled his bicycle out into the night. In a lab, Child Emperor adjusted settings on a cube detector. A soft beep sounded as the device picked up a faint trace of strange energy from a sealed container. We'll find you, he murmured to the unseen god, before you find anyone else. He glanced at a photo on his desk. It showed him standing next to Superman and Saitama, both in costume, both slightly awkward in front of the camera. We have our own gods, he said, and they like freedom. On the orbital station, Metal Knight watched all this from above. He zoomed in on Superman laughing on the balcony, on Saitama drinking soda, on kids playing with plastic toy heroes in the street. His metal fingers tapped. Unpredictable, he said. Dangerous. Human. He turned back to his console. Begin Phase 3, he ordered. Increase shield power. Prepare capture net. If the day ever comes when they turn, I will be ready. The night deepened. On the balcony, the two chairs sat close together. Superman and Saitama rested, sharing snacks and quiet. They did not talk about god-level threats or cosmic offers for a while. They talked about small things instead. Clark told a story about trying to write an article while a cat kept climbing onto his keyboard. Saitama told a story about missing a sale because Genos wanted to test a new weapon. They both laughed. Then, from somewhere in the city, a monster alarm howled. Both men looked up. The alert tone on Superman's communicator matched the siren. Saitama's phone buzzed with a Hero Association text. Dragon level threat. City. See outskirts, all available heroes respond. Superman stood, cape settling around his shoulders. Saitama stood too, stretching his arms. Race you? Saitama asked. Superman smiled. You can't fly, he said. I can jump, Saitama replied. Fair enough, Superman said. They stepped onto the railing. For a heartbeat, they stood side by side, looking at the distant glow of an explosion on the horizon. Then they jumped, one in blue and red streaking forward like a bolt of light, one in yellow and white, rising and falling in powerful arcs. Two capes, two symbols, moving through a world still full of danger and noise and choice. The city watched them go. Some people cheered, some prayed, some rolled their eyes and changed the channel. Life went on, just different now. Above it all, a being in the dark watched and waited. Below, on the ground and in the sky, men and women chose. And somewhere between gods and monsters, a bored hero and a careful alien kept saying no to easy answers and yes to something harder. Being heroes.